You submit an RFP now, you're going to have one complete original hard copy of the proposal, clearly marked as such, and one complete electronic version, both clearly marked as original. So we've stopped the use of having you send multiple copies of the proposals, mainly because we want to go into a digital field now so that you can view this stuff online, or it's just easier to work with now, especially when you're working with a series of committee members. So it's just less paper that we have to send out. So again, these two, the documents that we clearly stated here are going to be considered the governing documents. The electronic version, which we would like for you to send in PDF on a flash drive, must be identical to the original proposal. So we can't have one version different than the other, because this electronic version is what is going to be passed out to the committee members. So they need to be identical. And in the proposal, you can put supplemental information or marketing materials included in your proposal. And again, we state the required response form. Section 1 of the RFP must be fully executed. And what we mean also by executed is that the required response form must be signed, and we like it in blue ink so that we can definitely tell that it is an original. Usually if you use black ink, it looks like it's been photocopied. And plus, you need to turn in your proposal by 2 p.m. Eastern time on the due date that is required in the RFP. Now, what I suggest, and I suggested this last time when we went over this, is to make sure that it's submitted a day ahead of time. You don't want to rush yourself on the day that it's due, because you don't know what will happen. You could be in a traffic jam or whatever, and it might cause you to be late delivering the proposal. So I highly suggest that this be turned in a day ahead of time so that you're not overwhelmed on trying to get it here. So also, in case if there's a discrepancy between the original hard copy and the original hard copy proposal and the copies, the original hard copy proposal will be the governing document. So if by some chance there's something that might be wrong in the digital version, the original hard copy proposal will be the governing document. Now we go into 6.2, which is joint ventures. You can do this. You can have somebody actually come in and do a kind of like a group proposal. And with this, one person has to be the prime proposer and must include the name and address of all parties of the joint proposal. Prime proposer shall provide a bonding and insurance requirements, execute any contract, complete the required response forms shown herein, have overall and complete accountability to resolve any dispute arising within the contract. So the primary proposer is basically the one who we deal with if you're doing a joint venture in the RFP. I'm going to go down here to insurance requirements. Please make sure that when you submit before you submit your proposal, get with your insurance company to make sure that you'll be able to meet these requirements. And again, these are the minimum insurance requirements. in order to have your insurance accepted by our risk management department. And also for workman's compensation here, if you have less than 4 employees, then you would submit your affidavit with your proposal. And then this also goes, also goes into auto liability. So if you're performing a service and you drive onto school board property, you'd be required to have auto liability insurance. Now, if this doesn't apply, in other words, say, for example, you're performing these services out of state, then you would have a waiver. You would send in a waiver of auto liability to our risk management department. And I think there's a statement down here. It says, awardee name does not own any vehicles. In the event the insured acquires any vehicles throughout the term of this agreement, the insured agrees to provide proof of any auto coverage effective the date of the acquisition. Let's see here. Basically, it now goes into verification of coverage. And with new vendors, we'll receive. So we have partnered with Exigis, which is a company that actually looks at our certificate of insurances from our vendors and determines whether it is acceptable or not acceptable. So when you have after you have been awarded the contract by our school board, you will receive an award letter from me as being, or the purchasing agent that you will be dealing with on the RFP. And the second page of the award letter will have very much the information as it's spelled out for the insurance requirements. And this I forward to the risk management department. The risk management department will forward you an email. Now it says for new vendors will receive an email notification requesting account verification and insurance agent information. Existing vendors will receive an email notification of its current status. So this will allow you to download your certificate of insurance into Exigis system, and this will it will scan the certificate of insurance and let you know that if it's acceptable or not acceptable. So again, we provide this information to you. You have to make sure that the school board of Broward County, its members, its officers, employees, and agents are added as an additional insured. That's very important. And so we'll move on to the right to audit provisions. This is provided by our auditing department that basically says that the school board has a right to look at any accounting records, payroll timesheets, audited and unaudited financial statements to substantiate payment rates and income, written policies and procedures. So in other words, it only pertains to this contract. It doesn't pertain to everything that the vendor does, okay, or their whole basic system, I guess. So basically, it's just to look at the information that was covered under this RFP. So I'll let you read that on your own. We do ask that a W-9 form be submitted with your proposal. We have what is called bidder's preference, but mainly this is for if you're buying commodities. So if we had commodities that were attached to this RFP, then there's a certain form that has to be filled out and submitted. And it does require kind of like a, I'm trying to remember. I don't normally deal with this form, but I believe it requires a lawyer's sign off for it, so as to make sure that what the preference is for your area. So we will move on, and again, this doesn't apply to this RFP because we're not buying any commodities or personal property that is involved in this RFP. We also provide you what the acceptance and rejection of proposals would be. It's good to review this just so that you have knowledge of what is acceptable and not acceptable in an RFP. All proposals properly completed and submitted will be evaluated in accordance with Section 2.1 and Section 5.1. SBBC reserves the right to reject any or all proposals that contain material deviations from the RFP or that fail to meet any mandatory requirements. We went over that last time for minimum eligibility. I believe that's Section 4.4. And SBBC may reject any or all proposals when it serves the best interest of SBBC. SBBC also reserves the right to waive irregularities or technicalities in any proposal received if such action is in the best interest of SBBC. However, such a waiver shall in no way modify the RFP requirements or excuse the proposer from full compliance with the RFP specifications. So now we move into the rejection. This is very important to keep this in mind when you're putting your proposal together. A proposal may be rejected if it does not conform to the rules or requirements contained in this RFP. These are examples. The rejection include but are not limited to the following. The proposal is time-stamped in the procurement warehouse services department after the deadline specified in the RFP. So if you're clocked in at say 2:05 and on, most likely your proposal will be rejected. There could be times when, if it's sooner than that, say 2:01 or 2:02, normally we will go to our director of procurement and warehousing to see if she will accept the RFP. So again, I just want to make sure that you have your RFP there before the deadline day and time. Failure to execute and return the enclosed original required response form as defined in subsection 4.1.4. Failure to respond to all subsections of the RFP. Proof of collusion among proposers, in which case all suspected proposals involved in the alleged collusive action shall be rejected. The proposal shows non-compliance with applicable laws or contains any unauthorized additions or deletions is a conditional proposal and is incomplete. Proposal contains irregularities of any kind, which makes the proposal incomplete, indefinite, or ambiguous as to its meaning. The proposer adds provisions reserving the right to accept or reject an award or to enter into a contract pursuant to an award, or adds provisions contrary to those of the RFP. So in other words, when you submit an RFP, we have to make sure that you're going to accept the terms and conditions that are in the RFP. Okay, we can move on. The last in that section, in the best interests of SBBC, the board reserves the right to reject any or all proposals received when there's sound documented evidence or documented business reasons that serve the best interests of SBBC. And also what's important is vendor registration. This only pertains to new vendors. To become a registered vendor for SBBC, vendors must access, complete, and submit a supplier profile questionnaire through SBBC's new e-procurement online supplier portal, which is powered by Ariba, which can be located, and we give you the website location. And there's also training materials on that same website so that if you don't understand what in this, when you're registering certain sections, it'll allow you to, it actually gives you directions on how to proceed to being able to submit a full registration. And 6.10 here is our non-discrimination statement for policy 4001.1. I will let you read that on your own. Okay, we're going to move on to section 7, which is the general conditions. 7.1, if you remember, was part of the minimum eligibility requirements in section 4.4 that we went over last time. It says here, this general condition of the RFP is not subject to negotiation, and any proposal that fails to accept these conditions will be rejected as non-responsive. So the question that's asked in section 4.4 asks, will you accept or exceed the requirements of section 7.1 of the RFP? If you say yes, fine, no problem. If you say no, your proposal will be rejected. We'll move on to just some general information here. Please remember that your proposal must be sealed when we receive it. You can't just go and drop it off at the procurement warehouse department as an open document. So it's got to be in a sealed envelope or box. And again, here, proposals submitted must be on or before 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the date due for proposal to be considered. We do not allow fax proposals. So just to let you know that it has to be submitted as a competitive bid in a sealed box or an envelope. We do like our proposals to be put in a binder so that when we receive it, the pages aren't messed up. It doesn't allow for our time as a purchasing agent to be able to go through and start to put your proposal back together. So again, it's easier to just put it in a binder so that it's easy to read. I had mentioned this earlier about the bidding preference laws. I'm going to let you read this on your own because you could eventually receive an RFP that has commodities in it. So you'll definitely want to read this information. Seven point 3 goes over the submittal proposals, where to submit your proposal, and so forth. Goes over prices quoted. Most of this information is more or less for when you're buying commodities, but it does help to read this information so that you understand it. Samples, I don't ask for samples if you're dealing with a service. So again, if the RFP or bid requires you to submit samples, then please read this section carefully. And again, if you're buying commodities, all deliveries shall be FOB destination point. Shipping points offered other than FOB destination shall be rejected. Basically, it's telling you on 7.9 that the evaluation committees will be reviewing these proposals in accordance with state statutes. Basically, 7.10 is regarding awards. I'll let you read that on your own. An important document that is in the RFP is this conflict of interest and conflicting in employment or contractual relationships. And what this is, it's letting us know, say for an example, that somebody in the district is related, you're in relation to. So we have to know that in case if any sort of conflict should arise regarding your proposal. So this is a requirement for section 4.4 of the minimum eligibility requirements that this form be executed and submitted with your proposal. 716 is basically to make sure that you have all the insurances required in order to perform your business with the district. Now, this could be also not only just liability insurance, but permits, city permits, to be able to perform your services for the district. And again, this also goes over the same thing about licenses, certification, and registrations. So I'll let you read over that. Priority of documents. This is just to let you know that once we award the document, that normally for all RFPs, we have what is called an agreement. So the agreement will be the first governing document. Any addenda released for this RFP will be the second. Then the RFP itself that I submit out on the street, and then the awardee's proposal. That it goes in that priority. Patents and royalties, that's basically more for software or any type of commodity that we buy. Again, quality, we want to make sure that we have the best quality materials delivered to our schools. So I will let you read that on your own. Just to let you know, I do get these questions a lot about bid bonds, performance bonds. That in order, if you had to submit a bond, it would be stated completely in the RFP. If it does not have that information to say the amount of the bond and so forth, it's not required. So you would not need to submit a bond. Normally, those bonds and performance bonds are usually with construction RFPs or bids. 7.26 says that we reserve the right to cancel a contract. So, but we have to give notice ahead of time before we do that. So I'll let you read that on your own. Billing instructions. This basically tells you that you have to submit your invoices to the accounting and financial reporting department. Now, there may be times where a department wants the invoice to be sent directly to them, because that cuts down the waiting time of the accounts payable department sending it to the department for sign off, and then back to the accounting department for payment of the invoice. So you'll need to make sure that you read this information in the RFP if it's provided. We don't have to worry about delivering to the central warehouse because that is not part of the RFP. Now, assignment, neither any award of this RFP or any interest in any award of this RFP may be assigned, transferred, or encumbered by any party without the prior written consent from the Director of Procurement and Warehousing Services. So what that is saying is if we give you an award and then you decide, well, I can't really follow through on this, I'll give it to somebody else. You can't do that unless we have permission from the Director of Procurement and Warehousing Services. It says there shall be no partial assignments of this RFP, including without limitation, the partial assignment of any right to receive payments from SBBC as well. 7.33 goes into extension. There will be times when we may have to extend the contract. Just to give you the definition between the two, a renewal usually means that we are renewing the contract for an additional year. Now, an extension can also be for, say, 6 months. So there is different terminology used between renewal and extension. And it says here, the period of extension under this provision shall not be for a period in excess of 6 months. So in other words, 180 days. Let's go to the next section. Again, we go through submittal of invoices. I'll let you read that on your own. Purchase agreement. This RFP, written agreement, and corresponding purchase orders will constitute the complete agreement. And I'll let you read the rest because this goes into pricing and catalogs and so forth, which is more on the lines of buying commodities. And again, we have the supplier diversity and outreach program participation. I'll let you read that. It's basically for people who want to, or people or companies that want to sign up with our supplier diversity outreach program in order to be able to receive their certification. And also this when using the RFP, you can receive up to a maximum of 15 points, which is a considerable amount of points in order to be awarded a contract. So it's very important to make sure that if you fall into the category for the supplier diversity outreach program, that you sign up. It's very beneficial to do that. Now, if during the contract, say for example, we are providing speech language pathologists under this, and they do go to the schools and perform their services with the students. This would be required. The photo identification badge is required to step on school board property. So basically it states here on the statute, it says the awardee and all its personnel who are to be permitted access to school grounds when students are present, have direct contact with students, or have access or control of school funds will successfully complete the background screening required by the reference statutes and meet the standards established by the statutes. Personnel shall include employees, representative agents, or subcontractors performing duties under this contract to SBBC and who meet any or all of the 3 requirements identified above. So in other words, I'm going on the school campus and I'm meeting with students. You have to make sure that you have your photo ID badge with you. Okay, there are times when the schools have turned that employee away because they didn't wear their badge. So again, you want to make sure that the employee that is going to be used under this contract also meets the background screening. Now, the background screening, they go into various details of like felonies and so forth. There is a list on our website under, I believe, SIU, which is Special Investigative Unit, and they list all of the complete details of what would be acceptable to hire an employee. Now, if they have certain felonies and background criminal aspects, that will be determined at the time of the submittal for the background screening. So they will determine whether if this person will have access to the school or not. So again, once you get the contract, you have to make sure that your employees are submitted in order to get the photo ID badge and have the background screening as well. Down here, in this area down here, we have the services of Field Print, who have been contracted to provide the background and fingerprint screening services. And so you have to make sure that you register your employee with this system, and they will schedule an appointment and to have that person badged and fingerprinted and screened. So if you have any questions, let us know and we can get them answered for you. These fees, there is a fee to obtain the badge. The information for this information of the dollar amount that is subject to change without notice, but you can find out what the fees are on the Special Investigative Unit's website. I believe it's, I think, around $95, $93. So you'll definitely want to go look at that per person. We'll move on to 7.40. We do allow, for protesting of bid conditions and specifications. If there's something in the RFP that you feel is incorrect, you can file a bid condition or specification protest. And I'll let you read this information. There are certain procedures you have to follow, and how and where the protest has to be submitted.
You have a question, Chuck. There's a question.
Okay.
How long does it take to get a badge and to have the screening process completed?
I believe it. I'm pretty sure. I don't work in the department, but I'm pretty sure that it would take about anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to do that. Are there any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay. We're going to move on to 7.41. In order for us to communicate to everybody who was awarded the RFP, or we make a recommendation for award, and we also provide the tabulation, which would be the scoring results from the evaluation meeting. This tells you the date that the posting will be for the recommendation and tabulation. This date is also reflected on the calendar, which is also in the RFP. And it also says that if you, have any challenges to that, you can file a notice of protest within 72 hours after the posting of the tabulation, and shall file a formal written protest within 10 calendar days after that date. So in other words, you send in a notice of protest saying, I tend to protest the recommendation. Then 10 days after that, you have to file what the formal written protest is. So you have to make sure that your protest, how should I say, is based on the recommendation or tabulation. You can't protest anything that is not in reference to the RFP, just to let you know. So, and again, here it goes into the formal written protest shall state with particularly the facts and law upon which the protest is based. So again, you can cite state statute or whatever law that pertains to your protest. There is a bond requirement, okay, a bond that is payable to SBBC an amount equal to or 1% of the SBBC's estimate of the total volume of the contract. So we will provide you what the bond is based on the 1% of the total volume of the contract. Okay, so basically, if the spending amount, or what we assume to be spent in total volume, say is $10,000, you know, we would give you what the 1% figure would be based on that, so that you can issue a bond in that certain amount. Now, if you don't issue the bond, your protest will become moot. Moot means that it's not acceptable. Now, again, this goes into audit inspection of awardees' documents. We've already seen that in section 6. Credit cards, this is more for buying of commodities than it is for services. Non-conformance to contract conditions. Basically, this has to do with, say, for example, this is an example, that say you don't submit your insurance for approval under this contract, then you'll get a non-compliance letter from me that states that you have to bring yourself into compliance for the contract. And if you don't, then we can make a recommendation to the board to find you in default of your contract, which would result in cancellation. You would be barred for 2 years. Any proposal submitted by the vendor will not be considered and will not be recommended for award. And then we also, all departments being advised not to do business with the vendor. Now, an important part of this RFP is the cone of silence. You definitely want to read this section. Any proposer or lobbyist for a proposer is prohibited from having any communications except as provided in this rule concerning any solicitation for a competitive procurement with any school board member, which means you can't contact the school board member directly, the superintendent or any evaluation committee member or any other school district employee after procurement and warehousing has released the solicitation to the general public. All communications regarding the solicitation shall be directed to the designated purchasing agent unless so notified by the procurement and warehousing services. In other words, for me, I'm the purchasing agent. You can only go through me through communication, which would be email or telephone or skywriting, just joking on that. But anyway, all communications have to go directly through me. So if that is violated, your proposal would be rejected, okay? So any vendor or lobbyist who violates the provision shall cause their proposal or that of their principal to be considered non-responsive and therefore ineligible for award. Section 7.46, this allows us to terminate the contract, giving you 30 days written notice. And then that recommendation has to be sent to the school board for final approval. Another important one that I just want to point out is the use of other contracts. SBBC reserves the right to utilize any other SBBC contract or state of Florida contract, any contract awarded by any other city or governmental agencies, other school boards, other community state colleges or university system, cooperative bid agreement. So basically what this is saying is, say for an example, if we bid out, say custodial chemicals, okay? We found out for one product that the prices are not, shouldn't say, I would say something that are not competitive in that rule, we can piggyback, and that's a term that we use, we can piggyback off of any state contract or any other governmental agency's bid. For example, if the prices were considerably lower than what we received on this bid. So this basically just gives the agency the right to use other bids if we need to. So if that's the case, then we would not award the current bid and use a piggyback bid instead. You would have to contact the purchasing agent if this was a decision that was decided by the purchasing agent to do. Also, it goes into lobbyist activities, so you may want to just read that just over. Now, we also have tie bid procedures. Now, tie bid procedures are going to be different between an ITB and an RFP. So if we have identical scores that are received from 2 or more vendors, and all other factors are equal, priority for award shall be given to vendors in the following sequence. So say, for example, that we both had 2 vendors that had the same scoring. We do have the right to look at the decimals beyond that to see if that unbreaks the tie. That would have to be written into the RFP, and that would be in section 5.0 to let you know how we're going to evaluate tie bids. Now, if everything is equal, I mean, we're talking about the extension of the decimals and so forth, then we use this procedure 7.55 and go through each of the ones listed below. So the first one, a business that certifies that it has implemented a drug-free workplace program shall be given preference in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 287.087 Florida statute. So if one vendor filled out the drug-free workplace program and another didn't, right there, that cuts the tie, and you'd be able to award that item based on this difference that's here. The Broward County Certified Minority Women Business Enterprise vendor. So if against the 2 bidders there, if one was a certified vendor, okay, with our department, or the, excuse me, the, sorry, this this small minority business enterprise participation, that they would be able to have priority of award, okay, over somebody that isn't. And that's the same thing for number C. D is the Florida Certified Minority Business Enterprise vendor. That would be something you may want to talk to the department about to find out how that's done. So again, it goes through all these different. Yeah.
Hey, this is Robert.
Yeah.
And that one is just, it was local first, certified local vendor, county, then tri-county, and then certified vendor in the state. Then, county vendor that's not certified, tri-county vendor not certified, then state vendor.
Right. So it goes through a certain process here that in order to untie the bid. And then if the application of the above criteria does not indicate a priority for award, the award will be decided by a coin toss. So the purchasing agent would have to notify you, the 2 vendors, of the coin toss, and then somehow you're going to have to determine who is heads and who is tails. So that, if the time comes, I would contact the purchasing agent for that. Also included in this is the sworn statement. Florida statutes are currently enacted or as amended from time to time on preference to businesses with a drug-free workplace program. I stated that above, so it's important to submit that form with your proposal. Confidential records, if you have any confidential information that that you're going to provide in your proposal, this has to be clearly marked, okay? So that if we, I guess, have a public records request, that information is not sent out as a public record. So you'll have to read that information. Move on to 7.59, certification regarding debarment, suspension, ineligibility, or voluntary exclusion. There is a form for this that has to be submitted as part of the minimum eligibility requirements. So if you've been debarred from a contract or suspended, we have to know that information to be sent with your proposal. 7.60 allows you to inspect all proposals. If you need to, you have to contact the purchasing agent. If you need to personally sit down and look at the proposals. Okay, we're done with section 7. I'm going to go into the forms and attachments.
Chuck?
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break here.
Okay.
So that, and then, so we'll take a 3-minute break, and then we'll go into the certification,
Okay.
and then the SDOP forms, and then you will pick back up from there.
Okay. All right. That
Okay?
sounds good.
So everyone, we're going to take a 3-minute break. When we get back, we will start off with certification. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
So
Okay.
it is 10:57, giving everybody their time back. We'll get back at 11:01.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to get started again. And this section of the class would be led by Winnie Cummings, who is our SMWBE specialist. And Winnie will share more on the certification aspect of things. So good morning, Winnie. Welcome.
Good morning. I just realized that. Can you hear me? Just to make sure I'm
Yes, I
still
can hear you.
muted. Okay, very good. I realize I'm a little bit blind because I'm sharing my screen. However, Chelsea, if you can, actually, to everyone who is listening, good morning. I wanted to know by a show of hands if you can click on the emoji with your um, with the hand held up. How many of you are currently certified with Broward County Public Schools?
You can give us a thumbs up if you're certified with Broward Schools, if you're currently certified in the comment section. Oh, actually, hold on. I have 4. 1, 2, 3. I have 4 hands, Winnie.
Okay, 4. And I believe there are about 18 people on right now, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. So for everybody who was currently certified towards the end, I'll just give you a quick update on the required documents for renewal. And you'll be pleased at the fact that it's less than, and the process again should still be simpler than if you were certifying for the first time. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Winnie. I wanted to just, for those of you who are not currently certified, walk you through the required documents and the process, and just a little bit of a background to give you a better understanding of the benefits of being certified with Broward County Public Schools. Okay, so just to start off with, we have 3 types, okay, of certifications. The Small Business Enterprise, SBE, that is the general, Small Business Enterprise is the general certification that all of our certified vendors have. We are all, or you are all, small businesses. Now, the differentiation beyond that is if you are of an ethnicity, that would put you under the category of a small minority business enterprise, MBE. And if you are a woman-owned business, again, a small woman business enterprise. Now, again, the criteria or the requirements for certification. First, that you are a registered vendor, that you have a vendor number, that you are already able to do business with Broward County Schools, that you have a for-profit company, that you are independently owned and operated, that, and this is probably the more important of the criteria, that you are in business for more than 1 year, that you have significant business presence. Just a quick breakdown, that you are located in either Palm Beach, Broward, or Miami-Dade counties, that you have an average gross sales receipt according to the USBA size standard, that you do not exceed either 25% for an emerging or 50%. And just to give you an idea, when you are looking at the USBA size standard, it gives you the NAICS code for your industry. And in the columns to the right, it gives you either a threshold for what your gross sales should be over the 2-year time frame, or the number of employees that you should have. So just as an example, if you were under a professional management and development training, that is the gross gross sales, I'm sorry, your average gross sales receipt is 12 million. Now, to be considered a small business enterprise, you could not exceed 50%. So therefore, your threshold is to be an average of 6 million over the 2 years. And to be an emerging small business, it cannot exceed 3 million over the 2 years. Now, in the instance that it is not about the gross sales receipt, but the average number of employees, like if you were in the industry as a courier or an express delivery service, the number of employees is 1,500. So again, the 50% threshold is that you cannot exceed 750 employees average over the 2 years, or to be an emerging small business enterprise, 25% at 375 employees over the average 2 years. As well as the last still important key is that with your employees, 50% of your employees must be domiciled within Broward, Miami-Dade, or Palm Beach counties. Okay, now when it comes to being a minority business enterprise, we have the ethnicities listed, as well as for the woman business enterprise. So you are again listed as either African American, Asian Pacific American, Hispanic American, Native American, or a Caucasian woman for the woman business enterprise. And that is saying that you own at least 51% of your company. Okay, so again, just a breakdown, a little bit of a better view. When you are listed as an emerging small business, again, 25% of the USBA size standard. Small business does not exceed 50% of the size standard. And as an ethnicity, we listed our ethnicities, or as a woman business enterprise, you must own 51% and control 51% of your company. Okay. Moving forward, as a reciprocal certification, if you, because you most of you are not certified with Broward County Public Schools. If you are currently certified with one of our partners, either Broward County, Miami-Dade Public Schools, Miami-Dade County, Palm Beach County, or Palm Beach, the school district of Palm Beach County, you can receive a reciprocal certification, which means the certification that you have with our partner, we will mirror that certification if we hold that certification. So if you have a CBE, because Broward County Public Schools does not hold a CBE, which is, I believe, County Business Enterprise, we could not offer you a CBE. However, because they also offer an SBE, we are able to mirror that. So if you are currently certified, please take a look at your certification. And again, if it is an SBE, MBE, MWBE, or a WBE, you can then certify with us through reciprocity, become a or be granted a reciprocal certification. So just going through the process of how to certify, we do now have our own website. So we are browardschools.com/EDDC. And on our website, on our homepage, if you see to the left, we have where it says the ESMWBE certification. It will take you to the page that has our eProcure, because our certification is through SAP Ariba, and our process is on average 15 to 25 days. If all documents are submitted, if there's any need for communication for additional documents required, or any communication for clarification, we're also available to assist you at any time if you have questions during certifying. Actually, we had a class yesterday, so once a month we conduct, or we hold, a pre-certification, and we had one yesterday. and I was able to assist a vendor. And really the idea is that if there are any specific questions that you have during the process, that you can come on the call, but that is not the only instance, okay? You can communicate with us via our email address at sdopcertification@browardschools.com, that we are able to assist you to help you move along in the process. We are, move forward. Within the application, everything is online. There are no paper documents that we require because in the application process that is online, you are scanning and uploading your documentation. So there is no need for you to mail anything in. We are not going to request any documents to be mailed to us. Everything, again, is, as they say, paperless. And once you, just to give you an idea in terms of SAP Ariba, it is considered a little bit of a threefold process, which is the following. When you first log into SAP Ariba, you are in the e-procure process. The first part is to register your business, and it is almost like a LinkedIn for companies. So it is who you are and what you do. And then the following phase is to register as a vendor with Broward County Public Schools, which gives you a vendor number. Upon that completion, then there is the opportunity to then certify with Broward County Public Schools. So we are really part 3 in the certification, in your quest to certify. All of it is necessary and helpful to you. I think the benefit is to get exposure, bring yourself to, here we are, to have access to the prime vendors so that you are visible now. Now, one of the really true benefits in certifying is when you're listed as being a certified vendor, you're no longer on a net 30, again, because you are a vendor with Broward County Schools, and now you're listed as a almost a level 1 or a level up as a certified vendor. You now become net 7 when it comes to any pay for services rendered. Now, with bid solicitations, whenever there are bids coming up, we have our pool of vendors. When we know that this is an industry that you are in and there is a bid coming up towards your specific industry, we send notification out to you so that you know what's coming so that you can prepare to bid, because that is the point, is to do business with Broward County Public Schools. We allow and you can have access to us. We provide you technical assistance. As we're doing this summer series, the whole point is to, enhance your ability and your aptitude for knowledge with our training and business development. And now that you are within just developing and I would say kind of stepping into an arena where that you can actively seek to do business, you're enhancing your profile, so to speak. So that kind of concludes our certification. But I will say this, for the 4 of you that are currently certified, when it comes to the renewal process, if, Chelsea, by a show of hands, if you can give a thumbs up, if you are a reciprocal certified vendor out of the 4 of you, are there any of you? Chelsea, let me know if you can and see a thumbs up.
We actually have a question
Okay.
regarding reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me give you the questions first. Can we receive reciprocity from Miami and Palm Beach after being certified with Broward? If not, can we start with Palm Beach and receive reciprocity in Miami?
Okay, so if you are currently certified with us, you have your certification. However, when it comes time for renewal and you are certified with one of our partners, then yes, I would definitely encourage, instead of selecting a recertification, to select reciprocal certification. The required documents is significantly less, and the turnaround time, because you require less documentation, is a bit faster. So I would, I personally, if I was a vendor, I would choose to always recertify as a, excuse me, reciprocal certification upon renewing.
So I'll expand on this a little bit, Winnie. So currently Miami and Palm Beach, Miami-Dade County agencies and Palm Beach agencies do not offer reciprocal certification for Broward County Public Schools because our thresholds are higher than theirs. But we are able to, because their thresholds fall within our requirements, we are able to offer the reciprocal. So you can receive the reciprocal from us, but you won't be able to certify with us and receive a reciprocal from those agencies. I hope. Chrissy, let us know if that clarifies the questions that you have. And then we have another question for you, Winnie.
Okay.
What if the address that the business is registered is in another county, but the primary place of business has been in the Tri-County area for a few years?
Okay, say that to me again. The business is registered
In another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is from Danny. Danny, I am going to allow you to, I'm going to open up the mic so that you can go ahead and ask the question because it's a little confusing in the way it's written. So you can unmute, Danny, and we will take your question. Danny Stevens. Okay, so we're going to wait a little bit. Hey, the microphone seems, you can unmute. You can unmute. Okay, try it one more time.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, we can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey. Yeah, so my business is registered in Orange County because back when I started it, it was back there. So on paper, everything is listed under Orange County. But I've been down here in Broward schools for the last like 4 years. So on paper, like I tried to do this a few years ago and then it was denied because it said my primary practice was in Orlando. But we've been here doing like mobile therapy for the last few years. So how does that work in that scenario? Because I don't have an address listed down here other than my place of residence. I can just list that. But because we provide services in home, how would we do that or go around that?
Okay. You want me to take it, Winnie?
Yes, only because my initial thought was, so when you said that it was denied, are you saying that Sun Business would not allow you to change your address, or are you 50% domiciled here
Yeah, I'm here
permanently?
like 100%. So I haven't updated the address on SunBiz just because we kind of are mobile. So I wanted to add a location. But at that time when I did it, it didn't, like I wasn't able to do that online. So I didn't know if I had to change my address to down here, or, I mean, how does that?
Okay. So one of the requirements is that the company has to be headquartered or has an established place of business in the Tri-County region. And that means you also need to have the paperwork to support that. So that is just one part of the criteria. In addition to that, at a minimum of 50% of your employees have to be domiciled in the Tri-County region as well. Okay, so that means they need to live here. So with regards to the space, if you're here for, you have an established base of business here, that's fine, but you also need to meet the other criteria, which is at least 50% of your employees must be domiciled in the Tri-County region. And of course, the SBA's, the 50% SBA size standard is also the third part of the requirement. Okay, so that's where the significant business presence becomes important.
Okay.
Okay, and we do have our certification webinars monthly. If you do begin the process or you have additional questions regarding the process, our staff is available to answer questions at that time. So please let us know. We can send you the link. The registration is on our website, and you can join us, and we'll give you all the clarification you need so that you can get certified or know if certification is for you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. I see we have one other question before we move on, and that is from Chrissy. Does this mean I will have to create a new application for Miami-Dade? Okay, so if you start with our process, Chrissy, you will have to do a new application for Miami-Dade. However, keep in mind that if you start with Miami-Dade and then come to us, there is still an application. The reciprocity is simply a shorter application, but to be considered for certification with any of the agencies, there is an application and requirements that has to be met. So if you've started with us, yes, you do need to start an application with Miami-Dade. And if you start with Miami, you will do the reciprocal application with us. Okay, let me know if that answers your question. And again, we do have our certification webinar, and we're happy to address the questions one-on-one at our certification webinars. Awesome. So we're going to, and I'll send a link. Yes, I'll send a link in the chat. We're going to move forward, Winnie, with the compliance team. Did you have anything, Winnie, additionally you would like to add before we move on to the compliance portion of it?
No, I think that was it. Sorry.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for the questions. Really appreciate the participation. So now I want to welcome our compliance team, Marie Richards, who's our coordinator, and Dr. Anessa De La Hoz, who is our ESMWBE specialist. And they will talk to us about the forms that you will use when you're completing your RFPs. And again, please take this time to ask any questions that you have during their session. Anne-Marie?
Yes. Hello. I am just trying to share my screen here. Can you see it? No. Can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, can you put it in presentation mode, please, so that it will be larger? Thank you. Looks good.
Okay, thank you. So welcome to the diversity compliance section or segment of the presentation. My name is Anne-Marie Richards, and together with my associate, Dr. Ernesto De La Hoz, we will go through the SDOP compliance requirements for commodities RFP. So in this section, we're going to talk about affirmative procurement initiatives. We are going to go over the forms that are required, the statement of intent, the participation schedule. We will discuss the SBBC MWBE certificate, or we'll show you an example of what it looks like, what needs to be submitted with your proposal. Dr. De La Hoz is going to help navigate through the EDDC webpage and give you a live view overview of how to navigate the website to get to our certified supplier database, and how to source and how to search for your MWBE subcontractors. We will go over the SDOP guidelines, the good faith effort, and the monthly utilization reports. So what is an API? So an API, or the Affirmative Procurement Initiative, refers to various tools and program incentives that are used to encourage greater number of SMWBE prime and subcontractor participation. So it is the goal of the district to actively promote equal opportunity for all segments of contracting and the business community to participate in school board contracts. So in accordance with the policy, which is policy 3330, which was adopted by the board back in January of 2016, we use the policy as a guide. The policy gives us examples of APIs or programs that we can utilize, and it's based on ethnicity and gender, or neutral. There's the SPE, which is no ethnicity, no gender, or we have the option to use the minority, or the the ethnicity or gender. Ethnicity meaning you can be minority, African American, Hispanic, Asian, or we can use gender, which is a female, which is women-owned businesses. So for commodities, there are various APIs that we utilize. So depending on what it is that we are sourcing, or what the contract requires, or the solicitation requires, we can either use the MWBE subcontracting program, which is a program that include subcontracting for minorities and women-owned businesses. Or we can use the MWBE evaluation preference for best value RFPs, and this we use for a lot of services, or not really commodity type items. The MWBE evaluation preference for best value, what this does is it's points that are awarded. It's based on, so these points are awarded to MWBE primes for self-performance. So if you are an MWBE prime, and there's a solicitation for services, professional services that is within your realm or your scope, what Ernesto, what Dr. De La Hoz and I, what we do is we evaluate the whole, we analyze the whole bid, and we try to put together the best program or the best API that is suited for the scope of work and the dollar, based on the dollar amount and the scope of work. With professional services, we find that the MWB evaluation preference is best suited, because for that particular scope, we're looking to assist the prime to become to be awarded. So in this case, if you are prime and that is your scope of work, and we have the vendors to support the action, then we award points for your self-performance. The other API that we use, this is more on the commodities side, would be the voluntary MWBE distributorship program. Now, this is pretty much for commodities, for items that we use within either the schools, throughout the district. And it's pretty much there's a, if it's exclusive to manufacturers, for instance, paper goods. If there is a solicitation that goes out for paper goods and we don't have any subcontractors, any MWBE certified firms that can provide us with, or if the solicitation requires that they have a distributorship or a direct connection to the manufacturer, then one of the incentives that we put in, or we would write into the solicitation, would be the voluntary MWBE distributorship program, development program, which the manufacturer will be incentivized to then choose an MWBE certified firm from our certified firm directory and partner with them, offer them a distributorship, and start a relationship, almost like a mentorship, with the small minority or woman-owned business. So for a list of a complete list of APIs and the descriptions, you can actually go to the policy 3330, and there you'll find an explanation. You'll find detailed description of the APIs and how we use them. So SDOP forms, these are requirements. This is part of the SDOP requirements. So when Chuck does the RFP and he sends out and is published onto DemandStar, and you download that, part of the SDOP requirements, or part of the contract requirements, is that you participate in either the subcontracting, whatever API is implemented on that solicitation. If it's subcontracting, or if it's the MWBE evaluation preference for best value RFPs, then there are forms that are associated with those requirements. There are forms that are required, and they must be submitted with your proposal in order to be in compliance with the SDOP requirements. The two forms that that are consistently in the document in the RFP would be the document 00470, or the statement of intent. So in order to be in compliance with the SDOP requirements, the statement of intent or the document 00470 must be completed and submitted with your bid package or your proposal. The statement of intent and the participation schedule. So those two are required documents. So let's talk about the statement of intent. So the statement of intent, this form, the intent of this form is to document, it's a required response, and it documents it reflects the intent of the prime and the subcontractor to establish a business relationship. And additionally, it will detail the type of work, the scope, the percentage, and the dollar amount that the subcontractor will perform. I will briefly go through this because Dr. De La Hoz is going to, when he goes through the interactive or the live web page, he will touch on how to fill these forms out. But the solicitation number, the project number, you won't have a project number because this is commodities. The project number is for construction, but if you're not doing construction, this is an RFP, you won't have a project number. If you'll answer the question if the subcontractor is an MWB, if they're MWBE certified with us, you'll put the subcontractor's name, the corporate, however their business is set up, your name, who's the prime. On the second portion of the form, you will then detail the scope of work. So this the example we have here is software design, electrical, and training. So if we're sending out an RFP for software design, we know that there is some type of electrical or training that is associated with it, either. So you will choose your subcontractor, and Dr. De La Hoz will go through that with you, how to find and how to source through our webpage. You will list the scope of work, the dollar amount, and the percentage. Now, the way that the percentage is calculated is the bid or the proposal amount, or the actual dollar amount that is being spent for this project, and you'll divide that by the total amount that the total dollar amount of the work that the subcontractor will be performing, and that would give you 5%. It will give you, so if you use electrical for 200,000, the dollar amount for the bid is $4 million. To 200,000 divided by the 400 would give you 5%. So you are committing to 5% of the total contract value with a subcontractor, with an SBBC certified subcontractor. This form, the statement of intent, has to be signed once you complete this, once you've done your negotiation with your subcontractor. You guys agree on a price, you agree on the percentage, then this form has to be signed by the SBBC subcontractor and dated. This will then be part of your proposal. It has to be submitted with your proposal together with a copy of your subcontractors, with the subcontractor's certificate or letter of certification. The second form is the participation schedule. This is, or document 00475. This is pretty much it's a mirror of the 470, but this is going to outline, it's going to show the relationship, and it will outline the whole, all of your subcontractors. Let me go back. All of your subcontractors, the scope of work, what percentage you will be performing, what your dollar amount is, your subcontractor, all of your subcontractors will be listed on this form, as well as if there's a non-SMWBE subcontractor with the dollar amount, the scope of work, and your percentage to be performed. This form has to be signed by you, the prime, and dated and submitted. So you don't have a project number, but you'll date it. The project name, project location, the prime, your address, your contact person, your email address, your phone number, This is the second portion of the participation schedule, and again, you will list you as the bidder, which would go here, your dollar amount. So you're doing 95% of the project, so your dollar amount is 3.8 million. You will then list your subcontractor for the 5%, if that's the only subcontractor that you're utilizing. If there are more than one subcontractors, then you will list them all and put the percentages. Then your percentage won't be 95, because then you'll be committing to more. Or if you're breaking up that 5%, if you're doing 3 and 2, then you will list all of your subcontractors with the 3%, the 2% and the dollar amount. You will sign and you'll date, and this is submitted with your proposal in your when you're submitting your proposal. This is a copy of the MWBE certificate that should be submitted with the forms once you've completed the forms. Let me go back to the form 470. So for the 470, which is the form that this form, if there are more than one subcontractors, you have to submit more than one document 470 or statement of intent. So this form is one form per subcontractor. I'm just going over, this is the participation schedule. This is the form that has to be signed by you, and this would list all of your subcontractors on here. So there's one 475, but if you have more than one subcontractor, you will have more than one 470, document 470. And they each has to be signed by the subcontractor that you negotiated with, that you are committing to help or assist do the work. These are examples of your certification, copies of your certification. This is a copy of the certification letter. So it's one or the other. You don't have to do two. And this is submitted if you choose ABC company for 5%, ABC company certification must be submitted with the 470 document. So now, are there any questions? Questions?
We don't have any questions in the chat.
Okay, so then I am going to hand it over to Dr. De La Hoz to go through and explain how to get to the certified supply directory and find the forms and go through the EDDC webpage.
Thank you. If you can allow me to share, I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody. And while we are sharing the screen, this is the invitation for you to be really focused in what we're going to present now, because I'm going to walk you through our website, and I'm going to walk you through part of the presentation that Winnie already complete regarding certification, and also about those forms that Anne-Marie just explained to you. I'm going to show to you where you can find it, and all the services that Chelsea has been sharing with us through the presentations. All those services are in our website. Then let me share my screen with you. In that way, we can, give me just 1 second. And let me know if you can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Then over there is we go to the really top of the screen. You see that we have browardschools.com, and Winnie told us that the address for our EDDC department is browardschools.com/EDDC, and then you click on enter and you will have it. There it is. Then this is the website for the Economic Development and Diversity Compliance Department. Also, if you don't have or you don't remember the link, you just go to browardschools.com and you go here to directory, and then you click on departments. And then you can look for any department in the district. And here we are looking for Economic Development and Diversity is right here. We click on it. And there you have it. We are back to the Economic Development and Diversity Compliance website. And let's see what is here. Let's focus first in the left side of the screen. And then you see overview. And the first thing under overview is ESMWB certification. This is all the areas that Winnie were covering today. You got all the information there. Then this is certification. Here you have all the information about certification. You have from here access to the eProcure. That is where you're going to enroll as a vendor for the district, and also to complete your certification with EDDC. There is frequent questions for you to follow the requirements for certification and the different certifications that we offer, and also the links where you can contact us and have communications with us and the different events that we provide. Then let's go back to overview in the left side, and the second link is contract compliance. Then let's click on that, and then we will be in contract compliance. It's a little slow today, but there we are. We are in contract compliance now. And then let's go to the center of the screen. And then you're going to see that the first tool that you have over there is the different bid opportunities that are already published in the Mangstar. Then this is a direct access for you to check on the Mangstar. And the invitation for you is to weekly or bi-weekly be on checking on the Mangstar. We are always sending bids to the public, and that is the way that you will be informed of what is open for you now with the district. Also, if you want the list of contracts or current contracts with the district, there is the list of contracts. You just click on that and you will have all the list of contracts. And then here is the certified supplier directory, which has all the list of vendors that are certified with us. And I'm going to come back to this because this is a very important tool for you to find subcontractors and to find partners that you want to have in whatever solicitation you want to participate. But let's continue looking at this part of the website. Then you have there the firms that are pre-qualified. This is more related to construction, but there you have it. And then you have all the forms that Winnie and Marie were talking about, they are here. Then you can find all our forms here. And also the policies that are related to the supply diversity and outreach program are here also. Then this is a good resource for you to explore later, but now let's go to what is really in our interest at this moment, that is the certified supplier directory, that, as I mentioned, you can find it here in the section of the compliance website, but also if you go to the right side, you will see EDDC quick links. You can also find it there, okay? And you also see the Mangstar over here and the contracts. But then let's go with the certified supplier directory. Let's click on that. As I said, it's a little slow today, but here we are. Then this is the certified supplier directory, which has the current list of all the companies that are certified with the district. Okay, all the kinds of certifications that Winnie was talking about, all those companies are here. And you can search right here, you know, for them. And let's say that you remember somebody's name, some company's name, because you were in one of our events and you met with somebody, but you know that is Johnson. Then let's see what comes when you write the name Johnson. Then all those are the companies that have the name Johnson, okay? And then let's say that in the sample that Anne-Marie was talking about, you are a software designer and you're going to have an electrical company as a subcontractor. Then let's write the word electrical to see what comes. And then there you have it. It's only one company that has electrical as the name, but also you can search by the kind of work that company does. But the easiest way for you to find really the company that you are looking for your solicitation, that can be your partner in your solicitation, is right here, okay? Where you see download the complete list. Let's click on that. And then when you click on that, you're going to receive an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm going to open it and you will tell me if you can see it. Can you see it?
Not up yet. Ernesto and Amory is asking that we make the screen a little bit larger.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me open that Excel.
You may have to stop sharing and share again for us to see the Excel.
Yeah, it's not opening yet. Then give me just 1 second. That Excel spreadsheet has all the companies that are with us, working with us, or certified with us. And it will be an easy way for you to find the subcontractor or the companies in the related fields that you are looking for. Then let me share again the screen and let me know when you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then this is the supplier diversity directory. Here is all the firms that are with us, and as you see in the top of the list, you can also search by company name. You can search by commodity, and every single item that is over there also is, you know, the next code related to the subcontractor scope of work that you want to work with. You can look for the next code. Okay, then this is a very powerful tool for you. Is right here available for you, not just for the solicitations that you have with Broward schools, also for solicitations that you are completing with other agencies. You can come here and use our resources and find a very good subcontractors that wants to work with you. Any questions about the website before we continue? Any questions? Everything clear?
Questions and no questions in the queue as of right now, but we are open for questions.
Okay. Let me know if you can see my PowerPoint presentation now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to go back to the forms that Anne-Marie was sharing with you. And then because those forms are right there in the compliance website that I just shared with you. And as Anne-Marie was explaining to you, the 470, and let's go by this section of the 470, okay? Let's say that you are the software designer, and then you're going to subcontract the electrical scope of work of that particular solicitation. Then the supplier directory is the first tool that you should use in order to look for your subcontractor that works electrical work. And then over there, you're going to find all the contact information for each one of the companies. And then is when you can start working with that company, filling out this form that is the 470, which need to be signed by the subcontractor. And then later on, you will work with your form 475, that is basically stating you as a prime and also all the subcontractors that you're going to have, okay? Then, and as Marie mentioned, you're going to add the certificate or the letter of certification that those subcontractors receive from the EDDC department. Okay, then don't forget that those are the 3 documents that you need to submit with your solicitation. Okay, then let's move on. And now let's talk about the SDOP guidelines. The SDOP guidelines is a document that looks like this. And basically with this document, the district describe what is the kind of relationship that is expecting from you, the awardee, and the district. Also, the document will explain that the district is expecting that the relationship between you and your subcontractors be in the same level that you are having the relationship with the district. And the district also have the right to contact your subcontractors and verify how that relationship is going with you regarding payments, regarding, the working together for the good of our schools and our students, okay? And another document is the good faith effort. The good faith effort looks like this and is document 480. Then document 480 is a document that you're going to use only, once again, you use this document only if you cannot find a minority subcontractor for the solicitation that you want to participate in. Then it's very unlikely that you're going to submit this document. However, I want to share it with you. I want to explain to you what is the reason that you're going to use this document, and then check the document out, because the document is helpful for two things. One is going to give you some ideas of how to connect with subcontractors here in the Tri-County area. And also the document explains that if you didn't find any subcontractor for your solicitation, you need to provide us not just with this form, with all the supporting documents that you tried very hard to find a subcontractor, and you communicate with some subcontractors, and for some reason that relationship couldn't happen. Then that is when you use this document. Otherwise, you don't need to submit this document. Once again, the documents that you need to submit is 470, 475, and the respective certification from your subcontractors. And once you are awarded, then you will receive or you need to provide to us every month the monthly utilization report. The monthly utilization report just state how has been the payments with your subcontractor. Okay, then even though this month you didn't use your subcontractor yet because the contract just started, anyway, you submit your monthly utilization report stating that the amount right now for your subcontractor is 0. But then later on, when you start using your subcontractor, you will report what is the amount that you are paying for that respective month to your subcontractor. Okay, but this is only for the awardee. The awardee is the one that submits every month this monthly utilization report. Any questions about the forms that we discuss here, and Maria and I, or any questions about navigating the website?
No questions in the comment section right now. Does anyone have questions? No.
No
Okay.
questions? Okay.
No questions.
Then we're going for a 3-minute break. Chelsea, tell us how it's going to be that break.
So we're going to go off for 3 minutes, and then Chuck will come back to go over the form section, which is the last part of the RFP, at which point we will go ahead and complete the course. So it is now 11:58, giving everybody, let's be back at 12:02. So we'll see you back here at 12:02.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We want to thank our EDDC team members for their contribution in that portion of the course. And we are going to finalize today with Chuck. So Chuck, you have the floor.
Okay, great. Let me bring up, oops. Here we go. Can everybody see the screen for attachment A?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm not going to really spend time on this because the EDDC has already gone over this, but I just wanted to let you know that these hyperlinks here that are on this bid is when we had EDDC under the procurement and warehousing website. So the new RFPs that go out will have a link to the EDDC website in order to download these forms so that you can properly submit them with your RFP. Oops. Okay, attachment B is the conflict of interest. This must be completed by all bidders. This is part of the section 4.4, which is the minimum eligibility. It just basically you're disclosing if there's any school board employee that is related to you. Attachment C is the link for the W-9. We do require a W-9 to be sent with the proposal to make sure that we have the latest address and federal tax ID number listed on the form for your company. This is, as I previously stated before, the drug-free workplace form. Again, this is attachment D. You want to submit this. You want to submit this with your proposal in case of a tie bid. We also, excuse me, sorry about this. We also provide a sample agreement. This I'll let you read over. This just lets you know what the terms and conditions are when we write up the agreement for award. It's just for viewing purposes. You don't resend this back to me. If this is in regards to a health bid, in other words, for like nursing services or even speech therapy or OTPT, the HIPAA agreement has to be signed off as well because this is part of the Health Information Technology and Economic and Clinical Health Act. Also HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. So this we have to have with our agreements, and that you agree to them. That's still part of the form. Another attachment here, attachment F. What this is the certification of debarment. This is also a requirement in section 4.4 of the RFP under minimum eligibility. This lets us know if you have been debarred from any previous contracts. And again, this information has to be filled out and submitted. So by submitting the form, you're stating that you have not been debarred from a contract. So that's what that means by submitting the form. These are the instructions in regarding to filling out that certification. We no longer have this attachment anymore because the ACH payment agreement is personal information. You'll see this in an upcoming RFP that you would basically provide this information only through the e-portal procurement for your registration. So this is no longer asked in the RFP. Attachment H is the workman's compensation affidavit. I stated this before. If you have less than 4 employees, then you would need to fill this out and also have it notarized and sent back with your proposal. Also, attachment I are references. We need to have these provided with your proposal so that we can contact the references to find out your previous work and if it was acceptable. We also provide a school calendar, but that's only for certain types of RFPs that require working in schools. And we also provide this attachment, which can vary, but it says mailing label, just to make it easier for you to put in your name and cut this out and place it on an envelope or on top of a box when sending in your RFP. And the last attachment is the no bid, no response. If you will not be submitting an RFP, I'd be sorry to hear that, but you would fill this out and you would check whatever reason would apply for your not bidding. It just helps us to understand if you're not bidding. So that concludes the RFP process for this. So at this time, Chelsea, do you want to ask for questions?
Sure. We will open up the floor for any questions. Everyone's mics are unmuted, so if you have questions at this time, we are open to questions. These can be questions from the last session. Anything that you want to clear on, let us know. We do have a couple minutes.
I have a quick question. I was trying to
write
it on the chat, but it would not allow me. So for the SBBC, we are registered MBE through the SBBC. Does that mean that we're registered already with the SBBC, or do we have to, is that another avenue of registration?
As long as you have an SBBC, I guess, vendor number in the system, you are registered. So you don't have to re-register every time that you submit an RFP.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Well, so if we have no other questions, I will just open the floor. Sure, go ahead,
Hi.
Basil.
Sure,
Hi.
Basil,
Hey,
how are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. One of the
Good.
oldsters here. You see, my beard even got gray and everything.
So, well, I'm kind of working on that too.
Yeah, just wanted to say this is great information. You guys taking the time, because sometimes when you're just starting out and when you're a small shop, just getting through the clutter of paperwork can be so challenging. It just is overwhelming sometimes. But just keep at it. Do what you can, and on your side, try to understand that it's not that people are disrespecting the process. It's just that it can be complicated sometimes, but the school board is one of the organizations in our community that does try to reach out from time to time to see that there is more inclusion, shall we say.
Good.
And welcome on board, Chelsea. I know it's been a couple of years, and Chuck, we've had our battles and our victories and everything. So it's been a wonderful time.
Yeah,
Just wanted to say that.
I'm going on my 25th year, so
Yeah,
I've
that's
been here
true.
for
Yeah.
quite a while.
It's quite a time. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Basil. Thank you very much. Well, folks, this brings us to the end of our RFP course, and we trust that it was as helpful to you as we anticipated. I hope you took really great notes and you now have a clear understanding of the various bid documents and the requirements. I want to say thank you to Chuck for your time and the very detailed explanations that you've given to us and the care that you took in facilitating the class. Thank you to our EDDC team members, Winnie Cummings, Anne-Marie Richards, and Dr. De La Host for your contributions as well. Stay tuned for follow-up courses in our business development series. I encourage you to stay abreast of everything that's going on with EDDC by visiting our website. I placed the link in the chat. Join our mailing list, follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Make a safe email. We do have the ITB for Commodities course beginning next week. So if you have not yet registered for that, please go ahead and do so. And finally, you will receive a short survey in the next week or so you can give us your feedback on what you thought about today's course. Thank you again to everyone, and thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Have a good
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.